Hi, my name is Akankshya Upadhyay and I am your English instructor. In today's class, we will be learning about how to use the correct form of past tense in a sentence. This is in the grammar portion of 8th unit in our English book. So let's begin. We will be looking at how to convert sentences into past tense today. There are different forms of past tense. The first one is simple past. We have past continuous tense, past perfect tense, and past perfect continuous tense. If, suppose, we take a verb dance, the simple past tense of dance is danced, I danced. The past continuous will be I was dancing. Past perfect tense is I had danced. And the past perfect continuous tense says I had been dancing. Today, in this class, we will see when to use which form of past tense. So let's begin. First, we will look at simple past tense. Any sentence can be converted in simple past tense to talk about event that had occurred in past. So to talk about events that occurred in past. For example, I ate a lot of chicken. So you're talking about past, that you've eaten a lot of chicken, that you ate a lot of chicken. Also, we use simple past tense to talk about events that are now finished. For example, I went to my sister's wedding yesterday. You went to your sister's marriage yesterday and it's over now. We also use simple past tense to talk about situations in the past. For example, I worked with Mr. Saroj Thakal for 10 months. I don't work with him anymore. I worked with him for 10 months. I don't work with him anymore. Some more examples of simple past tense. Ria visited India last year. We are talking about an event that happened in past and is now finished. Ria is no more in India. She visited India last year. The train left half an hour ago. He traveled to Thailand to find a job 2 years ago. So someone has already traveled to Thailand 2 years ago to find a job, and that's it. It's over. There is no effect in the present, and the event has already completed. He's already traveled to Thailand to find a job, and that's 2 years ago. So you're talking about an event that happened in past and is already done, is already completed. Now we move further towards past continuous tense. The past continuous tense is used when we talk about actions that lasted for some time in the past. So to talk about events that lasted for some time in the past. You are basically talking about the past, but it was happening in the past, but you're talking now. You're remembering an event that was in action in the past. In that case, we use the past continuous tense. For example, I was playing. The dog was barking. So these actions were happening. They were in action in the past, but they've already completed. Also, the past continuous tense is used when one action is interrupted by the another in the past. So we are talking about the past tense. Hence, everything is in the past. We are talking about something that has already happened. But in the past, when one action was interrupted by the another action, one action was interrupted by the other, we link those two events in the past and use past continuous tense. So here we can see there are two actions, one that was happening and the other that interrupted the first action. So to link these two actions, we either use when or we use while. For example, when I was playing, my mother called me for dinner. So one action was happening, that was you were playing, I was playing, and my mother called me for dinner. This is the second action. And we are linking these two sentences with when. We can also say, my mother called me for dinner when I was playing. Past continuous tense is also used when we make a polite question. For example, I was thinking if you could take my pictures. You are making a very polite question. You are asking the person to take your picture, but very politely. In that case, we use past continuous tense. We'll see some more examples of continuous tense. When we arrived, they were dancing in the hall. When the telephone rang, I was washing my clothes. In both the cases, one action is interrupted by the other. When we arrived, they were dancing in the hall. And when the telephone rang, I was washing my clothes. These are, in the first case, we have two different actions. The first one is people were dancing, and the second one is we arrived. So when people were dancing, the interruption action is arrival. Also, in the second sentence, when the telephone rang, I was washing my clothes. So the first action was washing the clothes, and the interruption was when the telephone rang. She was fighting with her friend yesterday. So this is another action which is in continuous tense. You are talking about yesterday, that is the past, and you recall that she was fighting with someone, with her friend. Next, we will look at the past perfect tense. Past perfect tense is used to talk about those events or actions in the past that finished before another action in the past started. It is used to talk about actions in the past before another action. For example, she had finished her work before I went there. So before my presence, she had already finished her work. Lalita had studied hard at university and graduated in 2014. So one action in the past that she had studied very hard, and then she completes or graduates from university in 2014. Another example. Binita had finished her homework before she went to bed. So first she finished her homework, and then another action is she went to bed. Past perfect tense is also used to denote some conditional statements. With conditional speech, we use past perfect tense. For example, if I had studied hard, I would have passed the exam. So this is a condition. this is a conditional speech because you have a condition implied that you would pass if you had studied hard. So here we use the past perfect tense. Also, past perfect tense can be used to talk about reported speech in a sentence. Reported speech means you are telling something on behalf of someone else. For example, Shyam said he had already visited the temple before. So you're telling on behalf of Shyam that he had already visited the temple. This sentence is in past perfect tense, as we can see, and it's a reported speech. Also, past perfect tense is used to state that you are unhappy with something that had happened in the past, or you're dissatisfied with something that has occurred in the past. For example, I wish I had spoken softly. She is hurt. So you are dissatisfied with the fact that a person is hurt and you wish if you had spoken softly. So we use past perfect tense in these conditions or in these kind of situations. Let's see some more examples of past perfect tense. The bridge broke down after the truck had crossed it. So breaking down of a bridge is an action that occurred after one action had already completed, that is, the truck had crossed it. So once the truck had crossed the bridge, the action is completed. Then the other action, the breaking of bridge, occurred. So we use the past perfect tense. Next, we will look at the use of past perfect continuous tense. We use past perfect continuous tense to talk about actions before some other actions occurred. So to talk about actions before other actions. For example, I had been eating for 20 minutes when they came. So you are talking about an action before another action happened, that is, when people came, that is one action. Before that action, you had been eating. Also, past perfect continuous tense is used to express that something was happening in the past. So, happening in the past. For example, I had to go on a walk because I had been eating too much. Also, the tense is used to express reported speech. For example, he said he knew Ram had been lying to him. So you are expressing a reported speech that Ram had been lying to him, and the him is some other person. So he said he knew Ram had been lying to him. You are expressing a reported speech, and in this case you use the past perfect continuous tense. Now we will go through some more examples. In Bangkok, he had been working as a bellboy in 2014. This is happening event in the past, and in 2014, you are saying that he had been working because he worked every day in 2014, and now we are recalling about 2014, where we say that he had been working as a bellboy in Bangkok. This is all for today's class. The homework for today is to rewrite the sentences supplying the correct form of verbs in the bracket. The first question, when we reached the cinema hall, the film, the option is already start. In the second question, she, verb is buy, that house in 2013. The third question, I, the verb is eating, chicken momo when my friends brought noodles. And the last question, I, the verb is work, as a teacher for 3 years. This is all for today's class. If you have any questions, any suggestions, or anything that you wish to share with us, please feel free to write to us at learning@deerwalk.edu.np. Thanks for watching.